Live now, finally.
Okay, sweet. Shall we try a third, hello, meet and greet?
Yeah, for the second time. Um,
No, it's done now. It's fine. It's okay.
yeah, it's all good. It's all good. There's usually some technical issues that happen along the way, but we'll edit that out. Dude, how have you been, man? How's life treating you? I'm super stoked to have you again.
Yeah,
I love your
I'm
work, dude. I love your work,
extremely
and
honored to be here. I mean, I've been following yourself and all the other artists that you featured on here for a long time now. Um,
it's
so
been a
yeah, to
while,
be here
man. It's been,
myself is, it's big.
dude. Nothing. Yeah. It's been a while, man. It's
It,
been crazy,
it's
crazy,
been a
crazy
journey
times.
as well for you, right? You're on your 61st one now. I mean, including
Yeah.
this one. You see, that's a lot.
Yeah, I'm far from Joe Rogan volume, but maybe one day.
You're getting there. You're getting there.
Yeah. Dude, how you
So,
been, man? Like, how's life treating you? I want to get in a conversation and how you got into this whole industry, but just starting
yeah,
on a
it's
positive
it's
note.
good. It's good. The work is definitely flowing right now. Um, I think that the main thing is trying to find a balance, between the work and personal life as well. You have work, you have your personal
Right
life,
on.
but then in the back of your mind you have that eagerness to learn more as well, and there are so many different things that you can learn and teach yourself now. It's I mean, I find it quite difficult trying to manage my time
Yeah.
um to encompass everything. So you got all that stuff, and then on top of that, me with my work, you always want to push your work further. um So it's like, how the hell do I manage my time to do this and do this? And, there's so many different things you want to learn.
Yeah.
And I find, like, right now, that's the balance that I'm trying to find. Um, but yeah, besides that, it's going well. There are a lot of projects on the go, a lot of real world projects as well, which I
Mhm.
can't say too much about.
Yeah, of
But
course.
yeah,
NDAs, guys,
it's definitely
NDAs.
interesting. Definitely interesting.
Yeah, I want to get into that. And let's maybe start with introducing who you are. And I'm pretty sure people who are with us live, they already know. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. The people that tuning in live are usually, fans of the guest and fans of the show. But we might have people that stumble upon this, whether it's on as a live stream or a video,
Yeah.
or even a podcast, or even like iTunes or anything, and they'll be like, who's that guy talking? Let's figure that out. So,
Who's the guy? He
yeah.
makes a lot of cars. What's wrong with him?
Yeah,
Why does he not make
going
anything
on?
else?
Why is he drawing and creating designs for vehicles?
Yeah, literally. That's probably what people are thinking right now.
Right.
Um, but yeah, well, you know my name. You probably can't pronounce my name. My
Khyzyl
name's
Saleem,
Khyzyl.
is that correct?
Yeah, there you go. So for those that don't know, my name's Khyzyl, as Mache said perfectly. I'm 24 years old. I'm from the UK, if you couldn't tell from my accent.
Couldn't tell,
And
dude.
I basically design cars and other things.
So you're a designer, you're a concept designer, concept artist. Would you consider
Yeah,
yourself concept artist, concept designer,
don't,
automotive
I don't know.
designer?
It's a tricky one. I mean, concept artist, yes, and then you also have the whole automotive side to things. Designing body kits and whatnot for cars.
Right.
Um, so I never really know what to class myself as. I just, it's just. I mean, my job title is concept artist, so I suppose that's what I
Gotcha.
actually am.
Gotcha.
Um,
So I
yeah,
usually
I'm.
ask this question: what got you in this industry? Like, I usually look at it from the angle of what motivates people to join in and actually become, um,
Yes.
become an artist or work in whether it's entertainment or industrial design or automotive design. And I don't know, I know you work in entertainment, but
Yeah.
did you do any work with the automotive industry so
Uh,
far, or?
but yeah, I have.
Okay, that's cool. I didn't know about
Mainly,
that.
mainly building vehicles for people, or did not building them myself and designing vehicles for people
Right.
at the moment, which it's an interesting story, I think, because like when I first started this,
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't doing cars, you know, nothing I was doing was vehicle related. Um, I always had it in the back of my mind, you know, that vehicles was something that I was incredibly passionate about.
Right.
Um, so I'm like, okay, you know, I slowly shifted in this direction. Like, if you take a look at my art station, for example, and scroll to the very bottom, you'll find that there are characters there and environments.
Yeah, I
Um,
remember seeing that. I looked at your art station recently. It was just like all
yeah,
weird stuff in the beginning.
weird stuff. Weird stuff. Like, what? It doesn't have four wheels. What is this? Yeah, it's true, and that's from when I first started, and you know, like before what I do now, um, I was a graphic designer for 4 years,
Right.
um, and I guess that's kind of how I started. You know, I've always been interested in art and graphical things. I'm a very visual person, um, and it was kind of my journey. Um, Trying to figure out my place in the industry, because you're an artist and you're starting off and you see all these other incredible artists, like you were one of them. You've got yourself, you had Ash Thorpe, Dan Levisi.
I'm far from
He's
incredible.
like my idol, like that guy. He's the one who got me started on digital
Danny?
painting. Yeah, Danny.
Yeah, Danny
He,
is a very influential individual. I want to actually get Danny back on the live stream.
honestly,
He just got his book shipping
yeah.
the pop culture. So
Yeah,
I'm super
it's
excited for that
insane
for
as
him.
well.
But yeah,
He
Danny is
works
very
so
influential,
hard
isn't it?
as well. Just seeing how hard he works and him constantly pushing himself. Um, it was always really inspiring for me to see.
Yeah.
I'd just browse the internet and I'd see one of his paintings and be like, how the hell did he do that? Um, you know, it motivates you to learn new things and to want to get to that level.
Yeah.
Uh, and that was the start of it for me. I mean, like I said earlier, I started as a graphic designer. I left college after my first year. I don't know
Same.
what
I
this
said
is like.
did the same thing, dude. Went to college and left after not even a
Yeah,
year.
yeah. It's just like fuck this. But yeah, like in
Dude,
secondary school, I
attitude.
think
Great
I
attitude.
was
Fuck this.
I was very scientific minded. I love biology and chemistry and everything. Um, Kind of the art was always a hobby. It was always a separate hobby of mine, and I never intended to kind of make a career out of it. Um, and it got to a point where I'd be making these pieces of art. Um, but there was so much stuff to learn. You had anatomy, you had like the
Right.
perspective, lighting, and everything. Um, and it became very tedious, and I started to lose motivation in that quite a bit, just because the subjects that I was working on, they weren't enough for me to stay engaged.
Mm-hmm.
Um, So yeah, anyway, I lost track there a bit. But yeah, so I left college after first year. Um, I had the support of my parents as well, which was a very big thing for me. My dad kind of supported what I was doing. He saw that I enjoyed making graphics and stuff like that. And he said, you know what? Why waste your time with college, and why not go and look for a job and do something that you do really enjoy doing,
Right.
uh, which
That's
was
great to
important.
hear. That's great to hear.
Yeah,
You had parents
yeah,
that were supporting and actually encouraging
yeah,
that decision instead. Because
definitely.
I know it's a lot. I think it's a pretty ongoing topic for a lot of young artists that are struggling with this, and because from us, from me, from you, from pretty much anyone else, they hear all the time
Yeah,
uh, quick call, like if it's not a college that propels you to be better at what do you want to be, like concept art or
yes,
generally entertainment art or industrial design, whatever that would be, then you're wasting your probably wasting your time in that place, and you could just focus on just getting to learn and getting better. And
yeah,
as life goes on, I believe that there's never too late to start
no,
a new career, but
yeah,
the reality is also that when you're younger, you just have so much more energy and you can push yourself to like breaking points and still survive.
yeah.
The
Yeah,
older
it's
you
true.
get,
It's a good time to do it, but you're never too old to learn anything. You know,
right,
you're always gonna have the information available to
right,
you. You know, you want
yeah,
to go and learn to do something, you can go and do that. Um, but yeah, having their support it meant a lot to me, and it kind of, it motivated me a lot as well. But yeah, I left college. I found a job as a junior graphic designer
mm-hmm.
down in the centre of Manchester. So I'm from Manchester in the UK.
Oh,
Some
Manchester
of the
United.
followers.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was just about to say it's pretty well known for its football clubs.
Yep.
So yeah, that's my hometown. Um, and yeah, I ended up staying there for around 4 years. It was great. I had a great time working there.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but after a while, you work on your personal art and you're like, damn, I wish I was doing this all the time. Because the kind of work that I was doing there, as fun as it was, it was very different, kind of making billboards and branding for sports companies and stuff like that. It was completely different to what I do now.
Yeah.
So like on my lunch breaks, uh, I would I would just start working on cars. Because I kind of, that was my passion. That was something I was really interested in. I found myself kind of, well, being extremely unmotivated to work on anything in terms of anatomy and whatnot,
Right.
which kind of kickstarted the whole vehicle thing. So I was like, I need to pick a subject where I can still teach myself new things,
Mm-hmm.
but I myself can stay engaged. And cars, the vehicles, that was a way that allowed me to do that. Um, so yeah, that's kind of how I got
Where it's all
started.
started. Yeah.
Yeah, like I
Well,
can see
it's
you scrolling through
Yeah,
my
I think
art section. Uh,
you're I think you would be better off if you share your screen instead of app. For those who are
yeah,
actually watching it on YouTube, they will
I
not
mean,
be.
you're fine just going through my art station right now if you want.
Yeah,
I can
maybe.
stop my screen share right now.
Yeah, you can stop screen sharing, and maybe later we can jump in and
Yeah,
look at some of that keyshot stuff. And whenever you're ready, you just let me know, and
yeah, we can do that.
I'll switch it to the right channel. But yeah, it's for me one of the most important things that I'm learning from you right now is the fact that you had that support from your family, because that's something that people are
Yes.
struggling with a lot. I personally and it's kind of weird because like if, for one, you're just like, oh, my fucking parents, they don't know what they're talking about,
Yeah,
and it's just
yeah,
like it's kind of frustrating. But on the other
no,
hand, it's just like,
yeah,
usually parents can be right on many things because they
yeah,
lived life for much longer than you yourself. And
yeah,
when I became a parent myself, and the longer I live in this life, the more sort of lessons I learn, and realize like the things that sound and appear to be completely stupid and outdated and old school and
Yeah.
conservative and whatnot,
Yeah.
all of a sudden become those things that start to make sense the longer you live, because you
Yeah.
realize, oh, okay, like everything looks awesome on the surface, but in reality, there are just aspects of life that you
It's
only
true.
learn with experience. So, but
Hmm.
I think a lot of people struggle with the fact that you don't have that parent support, and I didn't have it either. Like
Really?
my mom, I think, told me once that I'll waste my life if I go into that direction. And I try to be understandable, and I was super mad back then, right? But
Yeah.
like
No, of course. Yeah.
in the perspective, looking at it, it's just like, yeah, I mean, looking at the reality of where I was coming from, and sort of like what kind of life a so-called artist would
Yeah.
have, and
Yeah.
without even knowing what the industry is, because like let's be serious, like back then nobody knew, or there was only a handful of people, in at least in my country, that were aware that there's an entertainment industry, and it
Yeah.
was mostly through forums, and then a bunch of like outliners who started companies like people, not People Can Fly, but People Can Fly as well, but like Platage Image and whatnot. And I'm pretty sure it's the same story for the UK, but maybe just started a little earlier. And so when did you? That would be a good segue. When did you realize that this could be a job? Like I know you worked in Manchester for a couple of years, and that
Yes.
was an experience for you, but it also was an experience where you realized that you're not really happy with what you're doing, and
Yeah.
you're exploring which avenues are actually more interesting.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
I'm curious, like at what point of your life you really knew, all right, I know there's a living here. Like I can make a living by doing it.
Yeah. Um, so, I mean, basically, hi, Travis. To answer that question, um, when I started working on the vehicles during my
Mm.
lunch hour, you know, it came, it came easy. I didn't have to think that much about what I wanted to do. I had a very clear visual idea before I started. A car, for example, and I'd spend most of the time trying to find the images to kind of blend together.
Right.
Um, but it was from that moment I realized that this is a way that I can successfully learn new things, but also develop my own style. I came to realize, that I had a slightly different vision
Mm-hmm.
when it came to vehicles. You know, this project that you have on the screen right now, the Back to the Future project,
Let me
I'd
go
say that
back.
that was one that kicked it all off. To be completely honest with you, I
Nice.
mean, I did this for a challenge on Brainstorm, a Facebook group.
Ah, the
Um,
good
you know,
brainstorm. The John
yeah,
Park. The John Park
yeah.
brainstorm. Haha.
Back in the day, yeah, they set a challenge to recreate a Back to the Future
Yeah, I
car. I was
remember
like,
that. Yeah.
okay, yeah, this will be a good one. What if I change the car to some? The DeLorean is such an iconic car,
Yep.
but I suppose when it comes to vehicles, I have this rebellious attitude. You know,
I
um,
can tell.
what would be the case if the car wasn't a DeLorean? It's just a simple question, but
Right.
um, it's something that people, they are very fond of things and think they should be, they should stay as they are. So when you change that, it becomes interesting. But
Right.
yeah, that particular project kind of, went viral on the internet, and that was my first experience of something of mine, spreading all over the internet. Um,
That's
and then the
awesome.
next thing I know, I get messages on my art page, um, people wanting interviews and you know wanting to feature my work and everything, and I was just it was a shock to me because my work had never had that much attention before.
Right.
And I'm just sat there doing something that I enjoy and I love doing. At that time, though, I didn't really think anything of it in terms of work. I didn't see myself working in a game or in a film or anything like that. It
Hmm.
was more just me, my headphones, music, and cars, just making something.
Right.
I, I I love sci-fi stuff. I love cyberpunk stuff. And then you have
I can
artists
tell.
like Daniel Simon, as Kalina just mentioned. They make incredible stuff. Scott Robertson as well.
Yeah.
And then you have Aaron Beck as well. That guy is a complete boss when it comes to vehicles. And just seeing all of that combined, it
It's a
got me thinking. I'm like,
perfect storm.
yeah, it's just, it started something.
Yeah.
Um, and I'd say that was the start. I mean, like I said, I didn't see it as a career, or I didn't see where I could go with this, but I was just having fun. I was just having a lot of fun making these cars. But more importantly, I was trying to define my own style as well.
Right on.
Um, just trying to do things I enjoy. Curious as to what different cars look like with different kits or with different technical stuff on it.
Hmm.
Um, and that led me to the whole old versus new kind of thing.
Yeah.
Uh, and kind of the start of my personal IP development, which I won't talk too much about because it's a bit all over the place at the moment.
Yeah, of course.
But
It's all right.
it um it got me thinking a lot. And I have a huge passion for cars and for motorsport in particular.
Yeah.
And I'm, just trying to combine that with my love for cyberpunk and sci-fi stuff, and just having fun with it. Really, like that's my main goal here, is to just create something that is fun.
Yeah.
Uh,
Give me a second. I need to close my window.
oh,
Freaking
that's fun.
gardeners decided to start making noises outside, so give me a second.
Mhm. Go for it. That's fine. Damn gardeners making lots of noise. Yeah, Daniel Simon he's awesome. He's awesome. No, Travis, I haven't tried Fusion 360, but I really would like to. Um, I'd really like to, especially seeing all the stuff that you can create.
All right, I'm back.
Yeah, I didn't even see you move.
Oh, it again. Like the stream is delayed, so that's why
Oh, okay, yeah,
you're
of
gonna probably
course.
see me
All right,
disappear.
I'll keep an eye out for when you move, right? Because I'm
Yeah, let's continue
watching.
though. You were talking about this whole moment
Hmm.
when you got discovered and you found out that you have this style and influences on your style that are coming from the people that you know and
Yeah.
whatnot. I'll tell you this one thing though. Um, Maybe I'm oblivious. Maybe I'm not paying enough attention. But from all the work that I've seen so far going, there's not that many artists that I can tell like, oh, that's the car guy. Apart from maybe
Yeah.
Daniel Simon, there's maybe a few more names, but they have a very specific, clean-cut way of designing things, and it seems to be very traditional, and it's amazing, especially what Simon is doing. It's just mind
Yeah.
blowing.
He
Um,
he set the bar. Him and Scott Robertson, and dare I
yeah.
mention Sid Mead as well.
Oh, of course.
They're all
I don't
they're
think
all just.
I don't think Sid Mead has to be ever mentioned ever because he's just a legend. He
Literally,
he
yeah.
is the legend.
He
If you
is,
don't
yeah.
know who Sid Mead is, you should
Hmm.
do your research. But like,
He should be the definition of legend in the dictionary.
yeah, it's like when you mention Sid Mead, it's just like, yeah, of course. You know, like
It's
that
like,
should be the
yeah,
answer. Like, why even
you
like
didn't even need
does
to say that.
do you actually need to
I
say
already
that? I
knew
mean,
that.
we already knew.
Yeah,
Water is
yeah.
wet,
Um,
of course.
seeing all of those
Yeah.
artists, it's always interesting though, because I came from a, like I said, a graphic design kind of background,
Hmm.
and then the whole digital painting side, and digital art, photo manipulation, and everything like that. Oh yeah, Alex is awesome. And it's kind of not clashes, but so you have all the automotive guys as well, and the
Yeah.
guys, chop cars, and they've been doing that stuff for ages.
Yeah.
Um,
But it's
like one
different,
example
isn't it?
is
It's like,
Hugo Silva. He's in the chat there. He's always made these incredible renders,
hmm
and I'd see them and I'd be like, how the hell did he make them? But when I tried, I couldn't do it. I was like, I don't know how to get this to look realistic, and you'd give up and move on. Um, but yeah, it was interesting seeing both these two sides of the art world kind of come together, and I think that's something I really enjoyed trying to fuse together almost.
yeah, and
Um,
you became really popular with doing just that. I don't again, like, I might be oblivious, but I don't see many other names that pop to my mind when, talking about this kind of work. I
yes,
would dare
yeah,
saying it's
thank you.
like a blend of concept art and automotive design at that point. And of
Yeah,
course, there are great concept artists that do vehicle work, and
yeah,
of
oh yeah.
course, there are amazing, automotive designers. Like, let's just
Hmm.
put that out. Let's make sure everyone understands that, I'm not discarding any of that. It's
Yeah,
true,
yeah.
but again, like, I might be completely oblivious, but from just following, your regular entertainment design,
Mhm.
artistic world, you name it, go on ArtStation, go on the biggest forums that share artwork worldwide. Like, if
Yes.
I want to see like really cool designed vehicles that have this kind of crazy mix,
Yeah.
it's gonna be your name's gonna pop up first for me. That's where you
Well,
at. So
thank you.
that's why I was
Yeah.
excited to get you, dude, because, like, you're doing pretty cool stuff there, man.
Thank you very much. No, I appreciate that. I think a huge thanks, goes to both Ashthorpe and Aaron Beck for that as well. Like I can call those guys my friends now as well.
Yeah, the
But I
good the
used to
good
admire
dudes.
them, and yeah, they're both awesome. They're both just fucking incredible people.
Yeah, you did the
Um,
collab with them, the machine, right? The
yes,
Sin Eater.
yeah.
I
So that
saw some
was
of that stuff when you guys were working. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
There are a few. I'm just trying to find the very first one that me and Ash worked on, because his love for cars as well, and him
Yeah,
being
Ash
the
is a car
artist that he
freak.
was. At that time, they were my two main biggest inspirations. Um, they were doing things with vehicles that I'd never seen before, and it gets you thinking. You're like, oh, okay, how can you build upon that?
Yeah.
Um, I'm just scrolling down my Facebook right now to try and find the first kind of collab project that I
Yeah, let me
worked
know when you have it up on your screen so I can pull it up here.
with.
Just
Here it is.
you would just have to do a screen, like a regular screen sharing
Yeah, that's
when you
fine.
have it up. Just like share your actual monitor.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. I'm
One
actually,
sec.
like, personally curious. That's more of a question to my audience, is whether you guys enjoy watching it or listening to it. That's actually an interesting question. Let me know in comments. Let me know in comments on YouTube.
That is a.
If you're listening to it on iTunes, then go on YouTube.
Why is this
So lazy of
screenshot?
me.
Mache, how
Yeah.
do I go to the screen share thing? It seems to have got rid of the window. Do I just need to sign in and do all the
Let me
meeting stuff.
see if you are in fact.
Oh, I need to. Oh no, it's okay. I got it. That's fine. Um, I'm up,
Okay.
but I think you need to set me as a presenter.
I will do it right now.
Merci. Sweet. Okay.
Yeah, there we
Is
have
that
it.
showing?
Yep.
Is that showing the entire screen?
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So yeah, this was the very first project, well, first collaboration that I did with
Might actually frozen. I hate that app. Sometimes it's just
with
freezing.
Ash. So he first posted this.
I don't think anyone can see what's going on. Let me try to make a presenter again.
Or I can just send the link to you.
Yeah, maybe that's better.
Yeah, all right. I'll send the link to you instead because this thing is clearly not working for me today.
That just sometimes happens, so don't worry.
All right, I'll just watch you instead. Show the image. It's like, yeah, so this image we have here.
Let me kill this. Boom. And let me open this link right here.
It's gonna be like lag. You know.
All right, I have it up.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so the image you see on the screen now, the vehicle on the left, the orange 240Z.
Yeah.
So Ash posted that, and I was in complete awe for like a day. And I couldn't get over how good it looked. You know, the side fenders, the exhaust, the way of presenting things we're so used to seeing, but they were in such a different way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I sent him a message. You know, I was like, "This is really fucking awesome. Can I try and apply this to a car that I like, which happened to be the Hakosuka on the right." And we did that. Kind of got talking from that, and yeah, like that also kickstarted it because it was like, damn, this is really fun to work on, you know.
Yeah.
From that moment, like I'd speak to Ash, and I'd speak to Ash and talk to him about how Aaron Beck was also just mental. And at this stage, Ash was already talking to Aaron, so he was like, "Oh, well, why don't we all work on a car together?" And that's when I basically almost lost my mind. So I started working on a Corvette, Stingray with Ash, and you know, he's like, "Yeah, this looks really sick and everything. I'm just gonna hand it off to Aaron now." I was like, you know, what? You're gonna give this to Aaron? He's like, yeah, you know, he's gonna work on it. He's gonna do some stuff on it. So yeah, that was the first kind of collaboration with all of them. Which is like you know, that's one of the things that I still remember, and it still motivates me to
Yeah, it
carry on
seems
pushing.
like it was yesterday. I remember you guys, because Ash, you know, since I met Ash, we became like really good friends. He's been sharing a lot of that stuff with me
Yeah.
along the way, and it's just like, hey,
Yeah.
check this out, and showing me, you know, what you guys been doing. I'm like, shit, like, it's so awesome. I was like nerding out. I'm not a big,
It's
like, honestly, I'm not a big car guy. I enjoy great cars, and I enjoy a classic car, like some of the classic cars, some of like the really, really, you know, good vehicles, but I'm not like balls deep like you or Ash are, you know?
But
Uh,
that's partly why I love doing it as well, because I get non-car guys, and you know,
yeah,
kind of saying that they really enjoy this piece, and that means a lot to me. You know, trying to bring people that aren't necessarily interested in this thing and have them enjoy it. You know, that's like what more could you want there?
yeah.
The link I just sent you is the one that I worked on with Ash. So I worked on that with Ash first, and then there is also a second version, which Aaron finished and sent. But it really allowed me to kind of try and dissect how their minds work. As
Mm.
creepy as that sounds, seeing one step
Let me
and
peek into
and
their
then
brains.
you kind of reverse it. You're like, well, why did you do that? Why did you do it that way?
Right.
Like, what was the thought process behind that? Um, but it kind of opened my mind in terms of what you can actually do with a vehicle. I'm just trying to find it right now, so I'm scrolling through Ash's Facebook profile
Sure.
like no tomorrow. Um, but yeah, those guys, they were always like the benchmark there, for me and for my art
Yeah.
at that time. So yeah, this was I think just after I made the Back to the Future project. And then from making that project as well, that's when I started to get some freelance jobs, uh,
Nice.
which was it was quite nerve-wracking for me, to be honest, because I'd kind of been in this. Well, I was still working full time at the time, and you try and figure out how the hell am I going to manage this, and you don't want to disappoint your client and everything. But plus, it was also like so I got to design some cars for what back then was Top Gear, Top Gear Live. They
Oh yeah, let's talk about that because I remember seeing some of this Top Gear stuff and I was like, wait a minute, my my,
yeah.
my boy Khyzyl working with those guys. By the way, Top Gear. I'm not again. Like, I'm not a car guy, but Top Gear
Yeah,
is by far one of my favorite. Like it's a show that if you're not interested in cars and you watch it, you will be interested in cars.
yeah, yeah.
uh,
Especially back then, it was something I'd look forward to it every Sunday.
yeah, with
And
Jeremy Clarkson, right? The
exactly.
Yeah.
It was just a fun thing to watch. Yes, they were stupid. Yes, they were complete fucking idiots, but
It's
it was still
hilarious as fuck though.
entertaining to watch. And one thing about Top Gear is the cinematography
Oh
that
yeah,
they do is spectacular,
yeah.
and it still is even now. But
They have a
yeah,
new show
I-
on. I think it's on Amazon, right? Or Amazon
mhm,
Netflix. I think it's with Amazon.
it is.
Yeah,
Yeah. They have
the
the Grand
Ground
Tour.
Tour. Yeah, pretty much Top Gear 2.0.
It is, yeah. But I don't know if you've seen any of the new Top Gear episodes at all, with
No, I
Chris
haven't.
Harris and Matt LeBlanc. But it's surprisingly very, very good. It's a lot more car orientated.
Right.
Uh, but yeah, it's a lot of fun to watch still. I mean, that's probably me and because I'm boring and like cars and shit.
You know,
Um,
you know what I
but
think. It's like with your art. It's exactly like it's a actually good analogy between both because the reason why I enjoyed Top Gear because it was such a marriage of two different universes. You know, one which is
yeah,
heavy like super awesome reviews of cars and going like really deep into minutia of all of the vehicles and steering and handling and
yeah,
prices and whatnot and like really meaningful discussions
hmm
combined with comedy and entertainment values,
yeah,
where it was
definitely,
like it was a great balance because of the hosts of the show. And I
yeah,
know the new Top Gear is great. I've seen some of the episodes, but
hmm
they're like, if I was on a level of interest as maybe yourself or Ash, I would definitely watch it,
yeah,
like religiously. But
hmm
I think, and I don't think the ratings are that great for those shows. It's because they're
no,
not
it's,
Jeremy
it's
Clarkson entertaining kind of stuff.
especially when you lose on an entire audience.
Yeah,
When you do change the system like that and the way a show is run. Um, which is understandable. A lot
yeah,
of people
things
watched it because it
change.
was entertaining and they just do stupid shit.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, now it's calmer. But the way you see it, well, the way I see it is you got two separate shows now. You have one for
Yeah,
the more car
which is always
orientated
good, right?
stuff, um, and then you have the Grand Tour for still all the stupid shit that they do. Which is great, that you got a
Yeah,
balance there. You got a good mix. A lot of people will complain and be like, "Oh, I don't
the
like the
universe
Grand
is
Tour."
balanced.
exactly, you know.
So
Um,
tell us about your interaction with those guys, because you or like what was exactly that you did for the show?
so okay, so I was sat at work, you know, just working away. Look at this email, and it's from the creative director of Top Gear Live.
Hmm.
So what that is like, I was like, okay, first, what is Top Gear Live? Top Gear Live is basically Jeremy, Richard, and James and the crew. They will travel around the world, doing stunts, you know, putting on
Hmm.
shows in arenas and everything. And they'd have cars built for this to do stunts. They were driven by stunt drivers, and you know, the Jeremy and everything would get in the cars as well.
Right.
Um, and I was approached by the main art creative director, um, producer, to design them two futuristic looking cars. These two cars were the only cars at the time like this in the UK.
Right. Are you
They
sharing your
were,
screen? Let's see.
I'm just going to send you a link. I was just trying to find
Got
the
it.
image.
All good.
Yeah, so these were two Liberty Walk kitted BMWs, but they were the first two in the UK. And they wanted a design on this car that looked futuristic and you know kind of just looked cool.
That's sick, dude.
Um, so the top two, the top image even is the render I came up with for these cars. So I had to kind of create these liveries in an orthographic view, you know, front, top, side, back, make sure they all matched up and everything. And I was incredibly nervous. Like this was my first kind of big job, you know, and it was my one of my first freelance jobs. Um,
Dude, this looks rad as fuck,
Thank you.
dude.
Yeah, they went and
It's
stuck
awesome.
a ton of LEDs on top of it as well, which I could send a video. I've got a picture of one somewhere, which I
Maybe
could.
we could fix this. Maybe we should just do Skype screen sharing. That way it's not gonna have any hiccups, and we should be able to
Yeah,
see anything that you want to
I can
share.
do that. I can definitely do that.
Yeah, I need to figure out the GoToMeeting thing because it's just sometimes. I think the issue is when you don't like if the guest doesn't have the actual app installed, but more
Yeah.
like a web browser. That's when it just becomes an issue. But yeah, let me actually pull
Okay.
it up right
Can
here.
you, can
We're
you
we're
see that?
good. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So if I'm just gonna quickly go on YouTube right now. Um, so I created these cars, and it was kind of the first time, you know, I'd ever seen my design apply to a car in person.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and this is what they ended up looking like in the end. They covered the car in thousands of LED lights, and
That's
they'd
so
have
fun.
images kind of projecting off them, which was really really cool to see. I mean, you can't see anything right now, but you can
Oh
see.
yeah. Oh, that's
Okay.
cool. That's awesome, dude.
I wasn't aware that they were going to do this either. But yeah, it felt special, you know, it was different. Uh, it was quite unique as well. So yeah, that was kind of my first main freelance job for Top Gear.
Nice.
They were really happy with how it turned out, and I was as well. You know, I was quite scared that I would mess it up or it wouldn't work out correctly. I mean, you know, I think that's what everyone's like on their first job with a client that they really like. Um, but yeah, that was an experience.
Give a shout out to Michał Kubica for sharing this video.
Awesome.
Cool. No, dude,
Yeah,
that's so
yeah.
awesome. It's super
Um,
rad, dude. It's one of those things where, like, yeah, it's just like such a turn, right? Because you were doing just your regular, concept art and for a company, and then all of a sudden you're working on. Would you consider that being your dream project at this point?
yeah,
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 there you have it.
definitely.
So,
I didn't even think I would ever be doing anything like that at all. Um, you know, it was completely out there for me. Um, Completely out there. I was like, I never would have thought I would have been doing that.
Yeah.
Um, did you see the link I just sent you, which was Aaron Beck's version of the Stingray that we did?
No. No.
No,
I'm just sharing your screen right now, so we can show that. So.
that's it. Yeah, so I just sent Mache this. So
Oh yeah,
this
the
was basically,
Vampirella.
yeah, this was what Aaron Beck did though.
Right.
So you saw the previous one, right, of what me and Ash did. Um,
Yeah.
you can see the difference there, you know.
Yeah.
It was that got me thinking, like going from one point to the other, you know.
Hmm.
Just it was awesome, really fucking cool.
Yeah, seeing a difference and sort of like a different approach to shapes and forms
Exactly.
and understanding like why exactly you did that. And I'm curious. I want to explore.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty
So
intriguing.
the things on the exhaust and everything like that. It was incredibly motivational for me then.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, back on topic. So yeah, the Fast and Furious stuff. Fast and Furious, sorry. I wish. Top Gear stuff.
One day, maybe. One day.
Yeah, one day, I hope.
Dude,
But
for me, stuff like you did for Top Gear, it sounds much more exciting than Fast and Furious. I know Fast and Furious it's a fun franchise. Don't get me wrong, I love
they
it.
they've taken that very very far,
Yeah,
like extremely
but
far. You know.
it's just like with
Excuse me.
I feel like with the you know what you did for Top Gear is much more tangible in a way. You know what I mean? Because it's just like, yeah, it's sort of like, I don't know. I like exploring different industries. You know, not just stick around in the film and games because I've been there for almost a decade now, and it's just
Yeah.
like I find more interest in places where, you know, that are not just the industry that I'm in, and I find this to be really intriguing.
Yeah.
So your main workflow when you were working on those, when you were working on those images for most of the time, and I know your workflow changed recently, or
Yeah.
it's evolving recently, was you just basically did a lot of like photoshopping, right? So you would pick
Yes.
your, you know, you know, a set of photos that match to what you want to present in terms of the design, and then you would just start augmenting it
Yeah.
towards what you want to have at the end, right? So adding like different parts
Definitely.
and you know sticking things together, almost like bashing things together, like kit bashing
Yeah.
into like what you feel. Okay, this is what I want to have
Yeah.
at the end of
Uh,
the day. But I know your workflow is changing right now, and it's
yes.
changing dramatically, and I think it's changing for like it's an evolution that I'm scared about, almost scared about it. So maybe if you could show
uh,
some of that.
don't even get me started on you.
I know you had Keyshot up and running before, and I was curious
Yes.
if maybe we could share some of that
Hmm.
juiciness.
Yeah, sure. But yeah, my workflow has always primarily been 2D,
Right,
um, because that's what I was comfortable with. That's what that I started with stuff like this. I just take
right,
images and see what I could do with them. This was very, very early on kind of stuff.
yeah,
Um, and yeah, I mean, 3D has always been something I've wanted to work towards.
mm-hmm.
Um, but I've put it off for so long just
It's
because I'm
daunting,
like,
isn't it? Right?
there's so much to learn. So much to learn. Oh, crap. My bad. We got one that one.
Oh.
Definitely not.
If you want me to kill the screen, I can kill the screen anytime, my friend.
Yeah, this is gonna like fuck up my computer probably. Oh no, okay, we're good. Yeah, 3D. It was always something, like I said, that I put off, just because I didn't know where to start.
Right.
I had no idea what software did what, how I would achieve a certain look, and to be honest, I was slightly afraid of it as well. You know, it's kind of going into the unknown. I'd been working in Photoshop for so long. You know, you become accustomed to how you work and your workflow, and you
Yeah.
know, you don't want things to change from that. Um, and you know, I get to a point where I make a car, it's 2D, and that's all it is. I can't do anything with it. You know, I can't look at it from a different angle. Um, there's nothing that I can do there. Um, and I'm like, okay, you know, I need to force myself to do this.
Right.
So I started on what was back then digital tutors, I think it was. They had some tutorials on there which I was able to do through work. Ghosts kind of they had an account there. And I used that to start teaching myself, you know, how to use 3ds Max. But first, I mean, I started in Maya to begin with. You know, I was doing,
Yeah.
well, trying car tutorials using Maya, and I couldn't get a hang of it. Like, I'd make a front fender for a car, and it would take me 2 weeks to do that. So I kind of gave up, and you know, I left it alone. Um, and I came back to a different tutorial, but this time using 3ds Max instead. Um, excuse me. Uh, and that's kind of when I found it a lot easier. The workflow and how I could create things, just it worked so much easier for me. And I'm just trying to find the first car that I modeled from scratch. Following this tutorial. This is the problem. I have so many cars. I can't
It's a good
find
problem
any.
to have. Have a lot of designs.
Yeah, it can be irritating as well. But yeah, I followed this tutorial, and I wasn't really happy with the end result because in the tutorial, it didn't look like the actual car
Right.
itself. Um, but that kind of inspired me to use what I'd learned already to finish off the parts that weren't in the tutorial. I think I've gone too far now. So yeah, I did that. I would just model extra bits of the hood. I can even show the tutorial that I learned from actually. As soon as I can find this, excuse me again, that
No
cough's
worries.
resurfacing. Ooh.
Car tutorials.
Oh, hey, Trevor. Sorry, someone from work. Um, okay, yeah, what was I going to show you? The car, where's the car? So many cars. Which car am I talking about?
You're
Nearly
talking
there.
about some tutorial
Nearly.
car
Yeah,
that you did.
some old, you know, shitty 3D
So what do you
attempts.
model with right now? Sorry, I might have
3ds
missed it.
Max.
3ds Max. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Um,
pretty good software for like poly modeling. Have you ever tried like Alias or any of those
no, I haven't. I'd
automotive
love to
related?
try these things. Like, I really want to try Fusion 360, but my main issue is getting the software in the first place. You know, to try it or trials or whatever. I can be incredibly lazy, which is really good.
Well,
Um,
don't despair. Fusion 360 is actually free for 3 years for students. You just install it and you choose
mm,
yourself as a student. Or if you want to use it for work, I think up to $100,000 or 100,000 a year, you can
oh
use it
wow.
for a year for free. If you go above that, you have to
Oh,
get the commercial license, which is cheap, by the way. It's like $200 or $300.
okay.
It's one of the cheapest
Okay.
software in terms of like CAD software. I think it's the cheapest on the market.
Yeah, I didn't
I don't know how
know that.
Alias is. I know Alias is great for like really weird shapes and curved shapes. So it's a primary. I think it's a primary tool for for vehicle designers, I believe.
Hmm.
But yeah,
It's for CAD as well, right? I think.
yeah, it's all CAD. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it is all CAD.
and Fusion
Yeah.
actually has this thing called T-splines, which is fantastic for it's like it's like it almost feels like marriage between CAD and sub D modeling kind of stuff, you
Okay.
know. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's
see,
great.
this is the thing, right? There's so many different softwares out there.
Right.
Uh, Trying to figure out what to use is the first step, but then there's so many of them that
Yeah.
do different things. It's like for example, like when I started 3ds Max, I also got so I got DAZ Studio. You use that
Oh yeah, I use it all
previous.
the time for
Yeah, exactly.
everything, like
And
literally everything.
and then Marvelous
When I
Designer
go
as
to
well.
take a shit, I use that 3D.
Just Marvelous Designer and DAZ and 3ds Max. I'm like, yeah, I really want to make vehicles in 3D, make my own characters as well. And then I'd see stuff like Travis was making, like Travis Davis, his characters, and the stuff you would do. Like I was even in your course, on Learn Squared, trying to do that shit. And it's the time. There's always a lack of time
I know.
trying to learn these things. But it's definitely something that I want to pick up again, and Fusion 360 is something I really, really want to. I really want to grasp how to use that software
Yeah.
because, like, a few days back I posted a excuse me, a drone autonomous version of a Mustang that I'm creating,
Hmm.
uh, and the boss Vitaly. Bulgarov.
Of course, my friend.
That
Of
dude,
course.
he's like also next level. But I was kit bashing in 3D a lot of his stuff because they look and things look like futuristic engines and all these other parts. I'll show you in Keyshot. I'll bring it up if my computer doesn't crash. Um, I want to be able to make stuff like that. It's just finding the time to learn how to do that, as well as still learning how to use 3ds Max. Excuse me, because there are so many different ways that you can model something. You have splines and polygons and oh, excuse me, all sorts.
No worries. It's a proof that you were sick last week.
Yeah, I was
Where's
ill and I
Khyzyl?
still
Where's
terrible
Khyzyl?
cough.
Where's my fix?
They're all
Where's my
hating me
archive
at work
fix?
right now. They're like, don't go near Khyzyl because he'll get you ill. Uh, yeah, but
It's all
what I was
good,
going
man.
to
It's all good.
so this was my first attempt at modeling a car.
Dude, that looks sick as a first attempt, man. And
Thank you.
obviously, let's be serious. There's some issues there here and there,
Oh yeah,
but
it has
but
issues.
damn, it's for the first. You know what? I spoke with this with this guy. How dare I? So Christopher Desse, he's one of the artists over at, like, 3D artists over at the Naughty Dog. And when I was first approaching to, like, really get serious about using 3D in my work, it was way back in like 2010, 2011.
Yeah.
I was talking to him and he said, like, take a like a vehicle tutorial, like create a car in 3D. You're gonna learn all the tools you need to learn by
Mhm.
creating a vehicle, because it's like forcing you to use all those different tricks to get the topology right. Not only just topology, but like some of the shapes. And if it's sub D modeling, you
Yeah.
will learn like a lot because of the shapes that are there and like cuts and whatnot. You'll learn how to do all the loops and everything in a way that makes sense and works. And he's right. Like, seeing this, I can tell he's right. I've never done it. I was like, fuck that. I'm gonna do my own stuff.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a good route to go with.
Mhm.
Actually designing it designing a car and learning
Yeah.
tools by designing a car, because it just shows you all the tools. But yeah, it's great, dude. It
Yeah.
looks, for the first sort of thing, looks
Excuse
great.
me. Thank you. This was the tutorial that I followed, um, which was great. Kind of teaching me the basics.
Right.
But me being a car guy, I look at this and I'm like, it's not complete. an actual Maserati. It has the hood kind of flowing at the front here,
Yeah.
the badges, the logos, and everything. So I kind of took it upon myself to add in those parts there, which I did here, and
Right.
added my own wheels and stuff, canards, and yeah, that was my first attempt anyway.
Ah, it looks great, dude. Looks great, and
I'm not dying as well.
don't worry, we can wrap it up soon, so you can get better if you want
Oh, it's
to.
good. It's just because I'm talking a lot more than I usually do.
Sip some water along the way. I think sipping
Yeah,
water is a good idea. But yeah, you've been changing, and you've shown us some of the stuff on in Keyshot.
Oh,
So
God,
how
yeah.
how do
Need to
you so looking at the stuff you're doing, you don't have to open Keyshot if you don't want to, but
No, that's what I'm trying to do. I keep confusing the logo here with Keyshawn.
yeah, they look similar, isn't it? Um, but did you model that Porsche from scratch as well?
The Porsche, no. So I buy a lot of models
Oh,
from
okay, makes
TurboSquid.
sense.
Um, what I'm doing right now, this is all kind of an experimental phase for me because I'm trying to figure out different ways that I'm comfortable with when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to modeling. Because there are so many different ways that you can model a car, you
Right.
know? Um, so I'm just trying to find which one I find easier and flow well with best. But like these wheels here, I modeled myself, which was quite an achievement for me because a lot went into this,
Yeah.
in terms of shapes. It looks really easy when you see it.
Everything looks
Um,
easy when you see it, and then when you try to
yeah,
do it,
you're
it's
like,
like, oh,
oh, that's
actually,
that's
it isn't.
simple, that's fine. But like, I mean, the dish here was easy, but the fans that you see behind, for
Right.
example, like, I was like, how the fuck do I do them?
Yeah.
What goes into making that, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll try and open up the 3ds file for this thing.
For sure. No, it looks great,
Uh,
man. So yeah,
Thank you.
it's a good way of approaching it. Like as you learn, and you only perfect learning new tools by just spending time in them. But sometimes you
Yeah.
just want to have results that you're after, and you don't want to spend weeks upon weeks on
Exactly.
getting the
And now this
assets.
this is the thing, right? Because I'm so used to photo bashing things. I can take a render like this and like that's enough. That's enough for what I need.
Right.
Um, if I was gonna do an entire environment in 3D and everything, I take a lot more care and attention with it, and I would model cars from scratch, and I would do all these things, but I don't need it. I don't need to at the moment because I use is incredibly heavy in my workflow.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
No
I
worries.
can I can take just a simple render and place it into my own background, which is one thing why I love Keyshot so much because I can create my own background in Photoshop, right?
Yeah.
And I can save that as a JPEG, and I can import it into Keyshot, and all I have to try and do is
Match the
vaguely
lighting.
match. Yeah, that's it. Like, for example, what I have on the screen right now is this is a background that I created in Photoshop.
Yeah.
Um, so all I need to do is match the camera angle, um, change the HDR, change the lighting, uh, and then I have something that roughly, looks okay.
Yeah, I like how easy Keyshot is in setting that up. That's one of the things that I'm kind of missing from when I'm playing around with V-Ray or even Octane. It's much
Yeah.
harder, or it takes a little more effort to set it up. But yeah, Keyshot is great for that. It's super easy.
I mean, but I really want to learn either V-Ray or Octane or Corona. It's just, again, it's like with the software,
Yeah,
knowing which one is best to use or which, suits you best.
yeah.
Because
You
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 can
can
you can
definitely get
get
better. Yeah, I mean, from the perspective of using uh, whether it's V-Ray or Octane or Corona, like
Mm.
they are much better in creating way more realistic results and
Exactly.
like much more intense shaders that can
Mhm.
get you towards that realism. But
Yeah,
they're like it's a longer workflow, so that's what you're gonna have to be ready for. Just takes more
exactly.
time.
But that's what I'm really pushing for now as well. Like with my 2D work, I was at a stage where I really enjoyed trying to get the cars to look as realistic as possible, to the point where you can't tell if it is a picture or it's not.
Yeah,
So that's something I really want to do with the cars that I'm working on now. Um, just it's a challenge, and I think it's something that I will really enjoy doing. Um, Plus, I really want to make wraps and liveries for these cars. But Keyshot isn't the best when it comes to UV wrapping and everything like that. It's a bit awkward
right.
because you have to apply materials separately and um, individually. But it's good enough for what I need to do, and
Yeah.
that's why it's difficult for me to kind of move on from it.
I find it a pattern for a lot
Yeah,
of artists. Yeah, for
yeah,
sure. It's just
literally,
like
you get stuck.
yeah, and it's understandable. Look, like when you're working and you have family and you want to do personal work, the last thing you want to do is just like run out of time just to learn new thing. Like it sounds kind of stupid, but it can be downing. It can be like really, especially when it working for something's working for you really well, like this stuff, right? You're just like literally just drag and dropping, which is great and it makes things so much easier. Just drag and drop, a couple of clicks, boom, it's working.
Yeah,
And if you want to do it, like if you want to, and that gets you what 90%, 80% there, right?
yeah, yeah,
If you want to reach that
pretty much.
95, 98%, it's just like triple the amount of work all of a sudden, and that's what it's sort of like throwing you back. Like, oh, I don't want to
Yeah,
do that now. So
I love Keyshot though. I mean, it has its downsides, of course, but
yeah, nothing's
it's
perfect,
it's
but
just
it
it's
works
no,
great.
it's yeah. There's what I mean. It works. I can create a render in two
Yeah.
minutes of something, and I can build off it and post it.
Yep.
But yeah, like I was going to show earlier. Let's see if I can load this without it crashing. I do apologize if this crashes. I really hope it doesn't.
Don't you worry, my friend. Don't you worry. It's all good.
Where's the chat?
You want to jump into questions in the meantime as you're trying to load it up? I think it's a good segue to jump into some questions and then
Yeah,
move on from
sure.
there. All right. I think we covered a lot of grounds, dude. I like where this is going for you, and you've been you've been really prolific and moving
Thank
on,
you.
and you went for almost like I've seen you raise and to the graces almost of being like really awesome, and it's awesome to see because it's just the hard work and dedication and passion, and that's what is important. Like you at the very beginning of your career, you decided like I can be X, Y, or Z, but X and Y is not really excited to me, and I actually hate
Yeah,
it. So I need to find my own niche. I need to find my own thing and follow it, and that's like a testament that you can do that. I don't think again I'm very oblivious in terms of knowing what's out there, and I'm trying to be as informed as possible, but to me if I would look back a couple of years like ago, what you're doing here it's really a niche, and no one would like consider just pursuing that full time or going like really really deep into working the way you are working and creating those interesting designs, because it's like it sounds very limiting in terms of what you can achieve by or how far you can go, but you're a proof you're like you're literal proof that if you if you follow your passion and you really try to get as much of that done and really put a lot of effort towards doing it because it's also fun for you, you can get far, and you've proven that that's the truth.
sure.
So Dude, that's
I
awesome.
just
Like a
like,
like
you
a
know,
GTO with the drone. Haha, that's so cool.
yeah. So I started this drone series. Um, just again having fun, autonomous cars, and why not? Um, as you can see here. And then I realized that I haven't really made any of my previous concepts in 3D.
Right.
Um, so I was like, okay, that's next challenge. I created this very basic kind of Mustang drone. Um, excuse me again. Um,
I like
yeah,
how
that
you
kind of
blend it. Like you clearly render it in 3D and then just blend it with your, your learned tricks to make it look like pretty much everything else that you've done so far, but it's just like it has that extra touch of quality.
this is all 2D.
Right.
There are only very few. So the one
Yeah,
which
I'm
I
talking
did
about the new
exactly
ones. Yeah.
the same, this one is a
Yeah.
mixture of 2D and 3D.
Yeah. And
So like
like
I
at the glance it looks like, oh yeah,
yeah
it looks like what you've been doing so far because you're already really good at doing it, but it's a great mixture. It's just gonna go from there, dude. Like from my own
yeah
experience, it's like it
yeah
starts with the mixture and then you just go balls deep.
yeah literally.
um, yeah,
Um, it's just and that kind of inspired me to create this.
that's so cool.
Um, which is it's not finished yet. I mean, yes, it has
Yeah,
like
of
a
course,
mini
work in
predator on
progress.
the back, but yeah, it's just it's something fun, but it's something like how I started. It's something I can use as a basis to learn and build upon.
Yeah,
Um,
never stop.
no, exactly, never stop,
Never stop. All right, let
never
me
ever
let
stop.
me read some questions in the meantime. Let's
Yeah,
see. I had one question directed to me. I'm gonna leave it for the very end. Let's see if I actually have some questions. You guys can ask questions anytime, by the way. Have you
question.
tried CAD programs like for vehicle design? I think we kind of answered it. You haven't.
No,
That
I
was
haven't.
a
I
Fusion
do need to
360
start doing
question.
so though, so I can get some things built in real life.
Yeah. Someone else asked if it was ZBrush or Fusion 360. Now it's all 3ds Max, so that's a pretty easy answer.
hmm
People are just basically saying that you're awesome.
Thank you very much, people.
Dee. Let me see if I can see actual question.
Some
I
people
think
questions.
if there aren't any questions, there's two reasons. Why it's one, it's just like it's so awesome that we don't even know what to ask, or it's boring. I think it's the first thing.
Yeah,
So
it's probably boring, just like don't ask any questions.
let's see. I don't. Yeah,
Uh,
I don't. Yeah, I don't think we have any questions. That's awesome. That's
will
the
I
first time.
ever
Uh,
design?
there's actually one question. Why 3ds Max over Maya?
Purely because of ease. I found that for me, the workflow and how to create things, it was a lot easier for me.
Right on.
That's literally it. That's the reason. It was just easier, and plus we use it at the studio as well, so it kind of it aided in my workflow,
Right.
making concept art. Yeah, it definitely helped because that is a whole other side. Like what I do at work, people don't think it, but like I don't work on cars at work.
Yeah.
It's like, what? You don't work on cars? Ugh. What do you do?
But you
Um,
freelance for cars, right? So you have some
I
clients
do.
for which you design their like mods and whatnot, right?
Yeah, yeah.
There you have
Um,
it.
but yeah, I wanted to learn it because it would help me at work as well. Um, that's probably also the main reason. And it helps because in the studio, we have people who are experienced with both softwares as well.
Right.
So I can just go and ask, one of the guys and be like, how do I do this? And they can kind of come over and just help me like there and then. Um, I think I just opened 3ds Max twice. But yeah, that's probably why 3ds Max over anything
Yep.
else.
It's a preference, and since you have guys that work in 3D, that's or 3ds Max, it's so much easier because you can ask them questions.
Yeah,
where do you get your road images?
my road images. So I tend to go to race events and take photos myself.
Good idea.
Um, but then Flickr is usually a good place to find images. Just make sure you get permission
Yeah, always.
from the owner, of course.
Yeah, it's a simple
And
thing. Like when you find an image, right? You just write
yeah,
an email and hey, like I'm doing personal work. I would love to use
mhm,
your image as a background. Boom.
yeah, that's it.
Yep.
And I also I have a lot of friends that are photographers that very kindly, lend me pictures and allow me to use them.
Yep.
Um, which is also a huge help when, your work basically evolves around photo bashing. Um,
There you go.
but yeah,
Your wheel.
the do I have two key shots open at once? Oh my god, I do. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So these wheels that you see here,
Yeah.
this is the 3D file forms.
Awesome.
It looks super basic, like I said, but
Dude, you're learning. It takes time.
yeah,
It's not gonna
that's
be
the thing.
like
I was quite proud of this. I was like, yeah, that looks cool, and then I can, unwrap the UV and create my own texture for it in Photoshop. I was like, yeah, this is cool.
yeah.
So I was quite excited with with the prospect of this.
Do you like what car do you drive? That's the next question.
Oh, I don't drive. I don't need one.
What?
Which is probably, yeah, it's the saddest thing, right? It is the saddest thing. But I live like a 20-minute walk away from work, so I just walk. And
That
with
makes
me kind of
sense.
being outside London as well, transport is always there. But I am saving up for my dream car, which is a Mazda RX-7 FD3S.
Okay.
So that should be on the cards sometime soon.
Save it, make it happen. Someone asked if you're
Yeah,
using
well, like
V-Ray.
Ash is also kind of pushing me to get it. So I'm like, yeah, I will.
Don't listen
I
to
will.
him though. Don't listen to Ash.
Well, no, he like is right. Yeah, that's like a main inspiration. It's a kind of a goal to work towards. Um, but yeah.
Do you use Lightroom for like post for your images, like doing post
Never for
processing?
post of my images. I use that mainly for images. I can drive. Let me put that out there. I can drive. Like I just don't have a car. That's all. You're like, oh my god, you can't drive. Yeah, no. Lightroom is just for images. Just for images. Yeah, I know. I will get a car. RX-7 is most definitely Bay. Uh,
It is.
I agree
It's
with these comments. These
pretty
people are
dope.
awesome.
Do you ever draw a sketch traditionally?
I do, yes. I used to do that a lot, but like my workflow is really weird, and I find that a lot of work. A lot of artists, and you yourself know this. You're
Right.
asked to create thumbnails and sketches of different concepts, and that's something I find very difficult. Um, Mainly because the way I work is very much do it as you go along.
Yeah.
I can't plan for shit. Um, if I plan something, then I'll overthink it, and I won't be able to produce anything that I'm happy with. Um, so, I mean, that's kind of a bit away from the question you asked, but yeah, I do sketch every now and again when I have an idea for a car and don't have any paper around. I quite like sketching people as well.
Right.
It's an odd one. Um, yeah, I should get you a car, Machi. Make you one.
I'm trying to save for that Bugatti, dude. It's never gonna happen.
Which one?
It's
Which
just
one?
no, it's like an ongoing meme. It's just like
Oh,
all
is it?
the all the
Yeah,
all
I
the
missed
support
out.
that goes through the Patreon and mug sales is
Yeah,
towards the down payment for that Bugatti, dude.
I agree. I agree.
uh,
Whoa. Matt, you traded in your F. Oh my god, for a Prius? No. No, no.
What are
What
you
could you
talking
do?
about? Should I?
Mr. Matt Webb, he just put I had to trade in my FC Prius
Prius,
because
dude.
of the long commute. I feel so sorry for you.
Um,
Ah.
all right, let's put it this way. Prius is a vehicle that you might like, you might hate, but if you drive in LA, you're definitely gonna hate it because,
Oh, yeah, probably.
frankly, not all of you Prius drivers, but most of you are not paying attention to the road. You're slow as fuck, and also you're
Who's
annoying as
talking to
hell.
you, Matt?
So
Specifically you.
get the fuck out with that Prius out of my sight.
Yeah, just
Joking.
leave, just be gone. You know? No, don't do that.
Be
Don't do
gone.
that. He's okay.
Be gone. Dude,
I'll
let's
put
wrap
a
it
mute.
up here. It was a great stream, man. I was so glad
Yeah,
to have
me too.
you. I don't want to.
I'm
I don't want
sorry,
to
I'm
end it.
like partially dying right now. I
I
think
don't want to
my
end it
voice is
abruptly, but I know
weakening.
your voice is dying. You just recovered from a little bit of cold, so that's
Yeah.
always annoying. And I wanna thank you, man, for being here.
Yeah.
You're always welcome
Thank
to
you
come
for having
back,
me.
obviously.
Yeah,
If you're
that'd be
interested with
great. I'd love that. I'd love to do that.
If you're interested with the
But,
Fusion 360 stuff, tomorrow at 1 p.m. I'm doing a Twitch stream with Curtis Chan, who's the evangelist from Autodesk. So you should
oh, wow.
definitely
Okay.
you should definitely join. If you have obviously time to join, and if you want to hop on Skype and join us in the conversation, you're always welcome to do that too.
Yeah.
Uh, obviously, I try
Yeah, no, definitely. I would
get
love
that
to
get
do
that friendship treatment, guys.
that.
So there's a couple
Oh,
of
excuse me.
things. There's a couple of things I want to share with you guys before we jump off. So one is, if you guys like what's happening here on the streams, obviously sans any kind of weirdness that is some things are not working at start and whatnot. Always trying to improve it, but
Yeah,
I just gonna
give it some
shamelessly
feedback.
plug this little thing here. So I do have my Patreon page for the Art Cafe. If you just
Hmm.
like the show, you know, just if you want to support it, any support is great because it goes right now goes directly to improving the equipment. So any dollar that you guys spend on this, I'm
Go and
basically
help out.
spending on equipment. So you become a part
Okay.
of it, like literally part of it. I have invested a lot of my own money before I even started this on the equipment, getting like LED lights, proper camera, like sound equipment. I have Joe Rogan mic here, which is like a lot of money, but it's a investment that I was willing to take because I just love doing it, and I want to
You should.
provide a best quality. Obviously, some things are not working as smooth sometimes, but that's fine. I don't care. I just learn as I go. So,
I need to
and
do this. I haven't even done this yet. That's shameful. What shame on me.
that's all right, dude. No obligation. It's like if you want to be part of it, be part of it. If not, then just keep watching. It's always going to be free. I'm never gonna put this on behind a paywall. So, but any help helps. Second thing I want to share is those two prints that I started selling. You can go directly on my site, kuchara.com/store. I actually have them here.
Oh, you
Um,
started off. What prince? What? This
dude,
is the first time hearing
check
of
this
this.
out. Fucking right behind myself. Just right in front of me. It's so big it doesn't even show on it. Fucking. There we go. It's
I'm
pretty
gonna have to
large.
wait to see it when it shows up on the stream.
Yeah. Let
Oh
me
yeah,
actually
this is
move
great.
away from the camera so you can actually enjoy the look of it. So I'll try to fucking show it.
You're gonna have
It's
like a
big.
delayed reaction from me because I can't see anything right
I
now.
know.
It's great.
I have one from Ash here. You can purchase it
Oh,
from his
Ash has
site.
one as well.
And this is what I added. This is like
Oh, now I can see.
uh,
Oh,
those are 24, 20.
holy shit, those are awesome.
Yeah, 24 by 32 inches. Those are fucking rad. I cannot wait. I'm just gonna rekindle my studio here. Um, a little bit later down the road, I want to
Yeah,
paint some
they
walls and
are.
get rid of the concept art bookshelf,
Mm-hmm.
and just start putting like
Mm-hmm.
pictures. So the picture is gonna be on the stream too. So that'll be fun to have. And last but not
Yeah,
least,
that's
I'm
awesome.
also selling those mugs. If you go to rcafe.tv #store, that's another way you can support the show by just buying those sexy mugs. So there you have it.
Mm.
A little
I need to
shamelessly.
go get all this stuff. I didn't even know this stuff existed.
Yeah, because I do a terrible job at basically promoting any of that. It's just like I don't know. I still feel like you know any support helps, but it's not something that I expect. It's just a nice thing to have,
Yeah, yeah, of
and
course.
just helps because ideally, personally, I just would love to do it more often. It's just like I
Yeah,
have to balance it between work and learn squared and whatnot, and obviously the same thing goes to the learn squared thing as well. So,
yeah.
anyways, dude,
But just
super
just on
happy.
that, I was gonna
Yeah,
double
go ahead.
what Andrew said. Do you think you will do any prints of the Ghost in the Shell stuff, or are you kind of unable to do that?
I don't think that's ever going to be possible because anytime you're
Oh,
working
the art.
for unless I don't know, I'd have to really investigate and get into contact with like Paramount and whatnot.
Yeah, there'd be a
The
lot of stuff behind that, I imagine, right?
It's a wall, dude. Like any
Yeah,
setting this up, it's a wall, and it might take forever. Maybe it's worth trying, but
mm,
honestly, if anything, I wouldn't imagine myself getting any cut from it.
yeah.
It's
That's what
just
I've
the
got
way it
too.
works when you
The
unless
joy
you
of working, in film and game.
if yeah
Right, but your work for
working
that, like you're the oh my god,
exactly.
that's like
Working for the industry means that you're slaving away for them in most of the cases. Unless you're on the Daniel Simon, sorry, Daniel Simon level,
yeah,
where you can literally just say, and that's how it's going to be.
hmm
You just have to
yeah,
be on the
you
certain
can't,
level where you're just one of a kind, and then just because you're one of a kind, you can dictate on what's going to be there. There is an interesting podcast I've been listening to recently. Actually, Ash turned me on to it. It's
okay,
called the stuff to blow your mind.
yeah,
And they had been discussing HR Giger and his career and life
oh,
and whatnot. And even Giger had like serious problems in getting everything the way he wanted to get.
yeah,
With the alien stuff. And the only reason why it went through the way he wanted it is just because his designs were so freaking strong, and he had so much support from I can't remember whether it was a writer or producer or a director, one of them, that were just so excited about how different it was from everything out there, and also it was a work that he already created, in a way.
yeah,
So there was the style and design was just him that was already
yeah,
created and then made into this iconic thing. But even before then, it's just like he wasn't as famous before
yeah.
that. So yeah. But anyways, I wish it was a possibility to get the Ghost in the Shell stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We all do.
I'll do my best to try it, but it just takes like you have to consider it. It's not a priority list for one of the five biggest in the world film studios to reply to a concept artist for one of the freaking
Mhm,
hundreds of thousands of films that they're making a year,
mhm.
and set up a deal where he can sell the stuff that you own. You know what I mean? So
Definitely.
there you have it. That's
That's
why
it.
I'm gonna keep adding those Showtime stuff. That's
Yeah,
the
no,
stuff
that please do, because that like
I
that keeps
own,
me alive.
and it's gonna get there. Potentially
Literally.
use Twitch streams or even maybe Art Cafe down the road to do painting as I'm talking and having guests
Mhm. Yeah, do
and
that.
then share
That'd be
that
awesome.
as prints. But yeah, those are up. You can pick it up anytime if you want to. If you don't, then don't. uh,
You don't
I'm
have
not gonna be
to.
mad. I'm not
You
gonna
don't
be
have
mad. If not, get the fuck out.
That's what they think.
But yeah, anyways, dude, let's wrap it up here. I gotta get back to work, obviously, and I'm pretty sure
Oh
you
yeah,
need
so
to
you have to
recover
work.
from this long ass conversation. So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah,
But no, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much
no, it's been
for
fun
having me
having you,
here.
man.
And it would be cool to do like a part two or something, because I do, there's probably more that people would like to know in terms of working at EA and you
Oh
know,
yeah, let's definitely
this
do
game.
that. Let's schedule
Yeah.
that and make it happen. You're always
Yeah.
welcome, and we can do it anytime, pretty much. So, we'll talk about it after we finish this. So, all right,
Brilliant.
guys, thanks for joining.
Well, thank you
Thanks.
all. Thank you for your questions. Take care.
Yep. Take care, guys. Peace out.
Bye.